Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Warzone In Depth. In today's episode, I want to tell you about the best weapon that you're not using right now, which is the Crossbow. A lot of you that have been around for the Mixer streams probably guessed that already because I've been doing a lot of Crossbow over the last couple of days, but the rest of you are probably genuinely confused right now. You click that thumbnail expecting me to be like, oh yeah, mate, take the M4A1 and put this thing on it or this LMG, but no, it's the Crossbow. You might be thinking, did Drifter take magic mushrooms by accident on 420? I mean, I know that was a few days ago, so maybe he's still out of his mind high on LSD and PCP at the same time, because seriously, the Crossbow is garbage. I can't even use the Crossbow in regular multiplayer where people run around like headless chickens, much less in Warzone where everybody's an MLG, S&D, round 11, tryhard sweat. It can't even one-shot kill in Warzone, Drifter. I know you want to break the meta, I know you want this channel to be like educational and neat, but right now you're breaking my mind with this garbage. I think that's about how a lot of you are getting ready to write a comment and, slam that dislike button, but I'm telling you right now, the Crossbow is actually a good weapon. It is actually worth your time. It's good enough where I think it could actually be a staple and very meta weapon in Warzone if more players tried it out, and today I want to tell you why. Starting off with the best thing about the Crossbow, it's that the damage is insane. It is the only weapon in Warzone that I'm aware of that can insta-kill someone. And to clarify, I'm not talking about insta-down. There's a lot of RPGs and snipers and cars and stuff that'll down you instantly, lots of things. But there's only one thing that will straight up insta-kill you, down you, kill you, and send you straight to the gulag so you can lose your 357 Magnum round kind of dead. The base damage on the Crossbow when it hits a player's body is 120 in base multiplayer, and it deals 300 damage for headshots. Those damage numbers are supposed to carry over to Warzone, but Infinity Ward is kind of always screwing around with the chest and head multipliers in this mode, especially for DMRs and snipers, so it's a little bit hard to get an exact amount of damage for the Crossbow. However, based on my many weeks of Crossbow experience, headshots always insta-down people. If you hit somebody in the head with the Crossbow, they're done for, and body shots on low armor targets will also insta-down people that are kind of in the one plate territory or just the basic body health. For my more mathematically inclined viewers, you're probably wondering where the insta-kill comes from, since you have to deal damage twice, a whole second section of damage after somebody's dead, and that's why I run the explosive tipped Fury bolts. These things detonate with a very small explosion after about 1.5 seconds, and by small explosion I do mean small. The explosion damage itself isn't very high, it deals about 150 damage, and the radius is about maybe a meter, which is like point blank kind of melee knife range, but this comes after the 120 body hit, so if you hit somebody in the body, it's going to go boom and down them guaranteed. Even honestly, if you hit them in the leg or something, they're going to be going down 100% guaranteed. And if you happen to hit somebody that didn't have armor, or even especially if you manage to hit a headshot, then you're going to insta-down them with the bolt, and then the explosion is going to go off, and they are going to be dead. They are going to be out. They're going to be in the gulag complaining that they didn't get the 725 round so they can camp in the back with claymores. Sniper rifles can't do that. You can snipe somebody in the head, you have to shoot them again to finish them. RPGs deal a ton of damage. They're very annoying. I have a whole video complaining about them. They can't do that. The javelins can't do that. The throwing knives can't do that. The vehicles sometimes can do that. You just got to run somebody over and just kind of drag them along with the car. But no weapon really does this. Even some of the streaks can't. The extreme lethality of the Crossbow is something that I think makes it a truly unique weapon, and personally, I love it. It's one of the ones that I use all the time. Even if it has a lot of other flaws, I get a lot of utility out of using it as a picking machine. This goes back to one of the previous videos I made about how to win more gunfights in Warzone. The easiest and best strategy is what I call pick and push. You down one player and then push them while they're weak. And that's exactly what I use this class for. You just get that first hit on somebody with the Crossbow, they'll probably be down, but you might get lucky and they're insta-dead. Then I swap to my 5.56 AUG, and I'll get the second down relatively quickly. On this class, I tend to run amped more than anything else, so I have very fast weapon swaps. And this is my absolute favorite way to open up a fight, because if I'm playing squads, that means after I shoot my Crossbow and dump a mag of the AUG, the fight is now literally 4v2. I can back off, reload, and let my 3 teammates push the other 2 guys that are panicked and confused and get that mop-up kill, and it's a done deal. There's sort of an added bonus to this, though, in that you create a lot of chaos when you down somebody with a Crossbow hit. Basically, nobody uses this weapon in Warzone. This is like seeing a unicorn. It just almost doesn't exist. And when you hit somebody with a crossbow, at first it's very scary. It has a very visceral body impact noise. It's loud. They might go down otherwise, and then they'll hear the beep, the beep, 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 and they'll be confused. They'll think that I get stuck. Did something lock onto me? Is this Halo? I just needler. I don't know what's going on. And then when they pop and they'll actually see the kill feed, and they'll realize it was a crossbow, that's when they start tilting. Especially if they die, they're going to immediately start complaining to their teammates that this hacker with a crossbow just nailed them and this is unfair and what kind of garbage is that. And it's it's very tilting, and it really, really disrupts a team more than anything else I've ever seen. Like teams of, I think RPGs are cheap. Like I said, I have a whole video about them. RPGs disrupt fights, but people have learned how to play around them and to expect them. They still do not expect the crossbow, and you get super tilted if you get that insta-kill too, and there's nothing like that in Warzone right now. The crossbow has a few other unique benefits that you might want to consider. Number one is that it uses sniper ammo instead of explosive ammo, so you have 40 total shots, and that's kind of hard to burn through. At the rate of fire that the crossbow shoots, you can just spam this, you can shoot again and again and again and again, and you can just shoot this all game long, and it's very unlikely that you'll run out of ammo. On my team, I'm usually the guy giving up my sniper ammo to other people that have been trying to pick people like 5 kilometers out, and I've never had a chance, there's never been a time where I ran out of crossbow ammo. Sometimes, if you get super lucky, you'll shoot an enemy and not kill them, but they'll run back to their teammates for cover or help because they're scared, and they'll take the explosive tip with them, and kablooey. I've gotten multi-downs with this crossbow, and I actually have one at the very end of the video. We're going to end today's video with a short bit of live commentary where I actually win the game with a crossbow collateral, so you can see how strong that can be. And this effect can be strong inside vehicles too. I've had clips where there were whole teams riding around in a car or helicopter, and I hit one of them with the crossbow, which doesn't kill them, but then it pops and it breaks all 3 armors, and my teammates only have to shoot them once or twice, and they are totally done. Anytime people stack up, it's just savage. The crossbow is silent. It doesn't make much noise. You can't really identify it, and to the best of my knowledge, it doesn't make a red dot on the map, though I have not tested that. Don't take it as the gospel true. And finally, you can arc this over cover because it's like a sniper that arcs, so you can hit people at some angles that should seem a little bit more impossible. It's a little bit goofy to do, and you don't actually get that beneficial upwards arc too often, but sometimes it can be helpful at extreme ranges. And the explosive damage does go around corners slightly. I have had instances where I down people in a house and I can't finish them, so I just spam 2 or 3 arrows in there and they just blow up and damage them over time, and they get, dead. I love deading people. Deading people is the best. There is a few other crossbow options that you could experiment with. I do not recommend the standard bolt. The standard bolt is, I guess, an option that you could do, but it's terrible for Warzone. You won't get very many kills with that. The gas bolt, not particularly useful for this mode because of the lethality problem. However, the thermite instead of the fury bolts do have some real viability because it hurts vehicles more. They had to nerf it. It doesn't hurt it a whole lot. And the burn does insta down people. Not insta, the same kind of way the explosive damage works. You shoot somebody with the bolt, it deals a ton of damage, and then they burn to death. The burn can finish them off if they're in low health too, or if you get the headshot, they'll burn to death. And the thermite's really great for shooting around corners because it bounces off of some surfaces, so you can really fling that into some camper holes. I personally prefer the explosive, but the thermite is a good option. My personal setup for the crossbow is I run fury bolts, the explosive tip one's red dot sight. VLK is also acceptable if you want to have a little bit extra range to it. Sleight of hand perk, which is pretty much a crutch for me. I run the 200-pound bowstring. It helps with the arc and the velocity a lot, so I don't have to sort of lead that far ahead. And I run the XRK speed track stock to make my weapon a little bit snappier. The aim instability isn't fantastic, but I like being able to kind of quick crossbow to kind of ADS really quickly and snap on people. Of all the attachments, this one more than anything could be traded for something else. Of course, there are some pretty major downsides to running the crossbow. It literally shoots one slow-moving projectile at a time before you need to reload. This leaves you vulnerable to all sorts of counterattacks. The crossbow itself is not easy to use. It takes a lot of practice to master it and a lot of general skill to get good with it. Personally, even though I'm probably the only person on YouTube you see doing this, I'm nowhere close to maxing out the crossbow's true potential. Speaking of which, I will admit the crossbow is a little bit unfair to free-to-play players because it's very hard to unlock in Warzone itself. You have to get a whole bunch of marksman rifle kills, which is kind of rough. I will say that the crossbow is not a sniper rifle. No matter how badly you want to, you cannot help your teammates out in sniper rifle fights. You have to be that guy watching their backs while they all have the long-range sniper fights, because you're just not going to hit people with the crossbow. And probably the biggest downside is that you're left with only one viable weapon if your crossbow fails you, so you have to make it a good one. I've been running the AUG 5.56, the standard one, on this class for a while. I was running the 60 round mag on that just so that it would have more ammo before reloading, but I don't like the slowness and the inaccuracy of it. You would want to run an M4, a RAM, something very, very reliable for your secondary weapon, because after that first shot, you're probably going to have to swap and break your rifle out immediately. I admit that the crossbow is not the most meta weapon right now. It's definitely not the most versatile weapon, and especially not the easiest weapon. But the lethality alone makes it so very much so worth considering. There's nothing else in the game that will down somebody and then kill them in one shot while you're around a corner. And that makes all these other downsides worth it for me. And I hope that some of you try out the crossbow. I hope that some of you put the time in to unlock it, to give it a little go in Warzone. It's not going to be easy at first. You're going to have a rough start, but I think a lot of you will sort of settle in and kind of like it. And I wanted to end this video with a funny ending that I had using my crossbow class, where I managed to actually get a crossbow collateral to win the game. Some of you probably saw this streamed live on Mixer, and if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, you can always follow my Mixer, which is linked down there below. And if you want to see me complain about the RPGs a lot, you can follow me on Twitter as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful, and I hope you enjoyed this ending clip. Drifter out.
He's the distraction for...
I see him, I see him, I see him.
Hostiles in the area.
He's done. Crossbow.
Oh, I'm down behind the shield though.
What? Oh, I'm sticking above.
Did we kill that guy? Did push
Yeah,
us?
I got the one who killed him.
Okay. Got one right here. Like, oh shit, that's a distraction as well. Got two down
I
somehow?
got one down.
Last chance, soldier.
So there's one person alive. If you have vision, I want to crossbow him.
Someone just self-revived. He's down below us. These two people picked each other up.
Oh, dude! Yes! Look at that. I got a double kill right there at the end. That is so beautiful. That's going to be opening up a video right there. Double kill at the end.